Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another Italian horror film. Once again by Lucio Fulci. I know I did The Beyond, and I did Zombie. Been on a bit of a Fulci kick lately. He is my favorite Italian director. And The Beyond was part 2 of his Gates of Hell trilogy, so now I'm going to do part 1, and that is City of the Living Dead. And I love this cover, by the way. This is one of my favorite movie covers. Now, City of the Living Dead, it's not exactly a zombie movie. To some extent, it kind of is. But it's kind of like The Beyond on a, well, I would say smaller scale, but it is a whole city. It feels smaller than Beyond. And this is, first off, this is a great release. A lot of Italian films around 2011 or 12 were released by Blue Underground. They have like just these, some of them have reverse cases, some of them just have these great, Blue Underground just have really good releases. A lot of Italian films though, either just come with trailers or interviews, not too much of like making ofs or whatever. But anyway, so City of the Living Dead, also like The Beyond, it's a bit more straightforward than The Beyond, but it's still, especially the beginning, is kind of all over the place. It starts off in this place called Dunwich. There's this priest who commits suicide. Then in New York, there's this woman. She's a psychic, played by Catherine McCall, who's also in The Beyond. She was also in part 3 of the trilogy, House by the Cemetery. He should have just called this the Catherine McCall trilogy. The psychic has vision. They're doing a seance. She has visions of this, and then she dies. And there's a reporter played by Christopher George, who is in the next movie I'm going to do. And so, he actually kind of reminded me of, one, he looks like Jack Lemmon. Two, he kind of reminded me of Mr. McGee from The Incredible Hulk. But, he's at the cemetery, and because he heard about her case. He thinks her death's kind of weird. But, so the cemetery caretakers put her casket in the ground, started covering up, and they got off work. They left. That's when she wakes up. And now, for me, one of the few things I still find scary in a movie would be waking up to find out you're buried alive. I think that would suck. But Fulci did a good idea. Like, I've seen a few movies where people are buried alive, but I haven't seen it done like this. The camera is over her face, and then it pans down to the flowers on her chest, and you see the petals moving, like her breath is moving it. And I don't know, I guess some people will put like a mirror on top of the casket, and it shows the breath fogging it up. I was like, oh, that's kind of different way to show she's actually still alive, but without waking up. So she wakes up and screams. He gets her out because he's still there and he hears her. I like how he takes the pickaxe, and when he hits it, hits her here, and then like right in front of her face. And basically the whole thing with the priest, his death is sort of the catalyst for everything going weird. And like Dunwich is like this cursed town because it was sort of like a Salem witch kind of town. Like there's a scene with a bar, there's the bartender and two guys, they're drinking, and all of a sudden the mirror, there's like 4 like bursts on a mirror. So people start getting all freaked out. Then we meet this other couple. There's a psychiatrist. And, well, I guess they're not really a couple, but there's a psychiatrist and his girlfriend. The girlfriend gets killed, and she keeps seeing this one guy named Bob, who's like a local pervert. He's actually played by, I can't remember the actor's name, but he played Ricky, David Hess's friend on House on the Edge of the Park. He's also in Cannibal Ferox. He's in a lot of these horror films. One of the cemetery guys, the one with the blonde hair, he was actually the camera guy of the missing film crew on Cannibal Holocaust. And it's basically just all this weird shit happening up until the end. Kind of like what horror metal says. Like, there's not a whole lot of gore scenes, but when it happens, you get it. Like, there's this one house, the house that the father hanged himself at. There's a couple making out in a car. And the woman was in... I mean, she's in this. She was in... I pulled it up because I knew she looked familiar. She was in quite a lot of Fulci films. Daniela Doria. And she's in The Black Cat, New York Ripper, House by the Cemetery. So yeah, she was in a few Fulci films as well. But, you know, the father shows up, and it's sort of like Dracula. He has, like, this hypnotic gaze. And he makes her eyes start to bleed, her mouth foams, and then just, like, her mouth opens, and it's all her intestines slowly coming out, like... Of course, the audio is different. But, and then all of a sudden just cuts up close to her face, and it's just, like, all her organs are, like, rapidly vomiting out of her. And they look great. Like, the intestines look... Because after a while, they're not bloody and red anymore. It's just, like, the color of the meat. And I thought that looked great. Then he kills the boyfriend by grabbing him by the head. And I've only seen this in Fulci films, I think. When someone gets grabbed by the back of the head, it's like, you see almost like when you make mashed potatoes come out of the side of your mouth. Like, the flesh, like, curls up around their hands and rips that off. And basically, that guy Bob, the messed up one, he keeps going to place to hide because nobody likes him, because he's known as the town pervert, even though he is, but he's kind of misunderstood as well. And basically, it all just leads up to, you know, they find the priest's tomb, and then they gotta, you know, close the gates of hell. One lady gets impaled with the metal thing. This other woman gets her scalp ripped off. I mean, so it's not a huge body count movie, and when there is gore, it does look pretty awesome. Actually, I've had a very stressful day, so I kind of dozed off towards some of this. It's not because it's a boring movie at all. I've seen this a few times. I really do enjoy it. But I had a shitty day today, and I was just really tired, so I fell asleep. So that's why this review's... I was kind of debating on even doing it. But, oh, and Bob, he actually does have a really good death scene. It's actually here on the back. Hides out at this house, and he's always crying. This girl's trying to comfort him, and then the girl's father comes in. He's hiding in the garage. Recognizes him, thinks he's trying to seduce her, so he just kills him on this lathe. That was a pretty good scene. The ending... Italian films end very abruptly. It's like everything's all said and done. There's the kid that is the son of someone. I forget, because I dozed off. He's running towards Catherine McCall and the psychiatrist, who are survivors. It's in slow motion, but then you hear screaming like, no. So it's like, maybe they didn't seal the gates of hell. But anyway, this is one of my favorite Fulci films. I really do like it. I love... The look of the undead is great. They're not so much zombies in general, but... So they don't really look like Fulci zombies. They look more I guess they look more like a traditional zombie. You know, messed up flesh and blood, but they look fantastic. The makeup is always a plus. I love the music. Next to The Beyond, this is probably, and Zombie, this is probably his best scored film. I really like the music to it. One of my favorites. The whole thing about trilogy, I mean, they're all standalone films. I mean, unless there's something I'm missing. So, you know, that's why I did The Beyond first, because I decided to watch that. Then I did this one. Then eventually I'll do House by the Cemetery. But yeah, this is my second favorite Fulci film, next to Zombie. So, if you were to go out and just pick up Italian horror films, or if you want to get into Fulci, pick up Zombie, this, and The Beyond. Those three. I would also say New York Ripper, just so that you have a Giallo film in there. And Don't Torture Duckling. Well, I guess I could recommend all of them, but yeah, City of Living Dead. It's a great title, even though it's not really a zombie movie. I mean, that's why I got it, because I thought it was going to be a zombie film. I thought it was going to be like Zombie, because that was the first Fulci film I saw. But no, this is a really good movie. Highly recommend it. So, and earlier I said that the reporter is played by Christopher George, who's in the next movie I'm going to talk about, because I'm getting ready to watch it right now, and that is another fun 80s slash that I haven't seen in a long time. Pieces. So I'll be talking about that next. So for Room 237, I'm out. Thank you.